the zoo. I'm
You're
a native
New Yorker,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, born and raised. And I said, no, I will not tell you the direction to the zoo. You know, and I would give them a whole spiel about why I didn't want them to go to the zoo. And a lot of times they'd say they wouldn't go to the zoo. And ditto for fast food restaurants. Have people come up to me, you know where the nearest McDonald's is? Nope, I won't tell you. So
really?
It's like that. Yeah.
So I take it you're a vegetarian, right?
Vegan, yes. I'm a vegan.
A vegan. And do you try to...
Yes, I don't eat animals. I don't wear them. I don't use cosmetics that are tested on them. I try not to use animals in my life. And guess what? I'm healthier. I'll probably have greater longevity. I have tremendous energy. I feel good. I don't have any cholesterol in my body because if you have a cholesterol problem, instead of taking statins or whatever they're giving you, just eliminate meat and dairy because all of us, we are animals, King, and all animals produce cholesterol. So unless you're one of the rare individuals with a genetic predisposition to high cholesterol, if you have high cholesterol, it means you're eating too many animals and too much dairy because they produce cholesterol just like we do.
Oh, absolutely, no question. You also got into writing several books. One book I have right in front of me called I Want, I believe the name of it is, right? Yeah, you remember?
Yes.
The book
Can you hear me? Yeah. I've had a journey, and, you know, it's been a great, fun journey, and I've enjoyed every minute. Well, not every minute of it. But I'm a recovering alcoholic. I just celebrated 21 years of sobriety on, believe it or not, April Fool's Day. Isn't that funny? But it's the truth. And, until I got sober, I didn't care about any of this stuff. I was just the most superficial person imaginable. I just wanted to succeed, be famous, make money, have a fancy car, live in a nice place, have status, have all the things that most people want. And I had a disease, alcoholism. I couldn't go a day without drinking. You know, I wasn't a person who drank before work, but I drank after work, and sometimes I had a hangover at work. And I hit bottom, and I was lucky. I never got a DUI or anything, but I was morally bankrupt when I hit bottom. That's the definition, I think, of hitting bottom is you're a shell, you know. And I feel like I was born again, not necessarily in a religious sense, but when I realized, thanks to a miracle, that I didn't have to drink. You know, I used to say, I'm not going to drink, and I'd swear, I won't drink. But suddenly I had a psychic shift, and I realized I don't have to drink today. And so that started a whole journey, and then after that I realized...
Second. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to King Jordan Radio, of course. And we will be right with you, so don't worry. Okay, so what we are doing is having a little technical difficulties at this time. Okay, let me call Jane and tell her that
I hear you. Do you hear me?
You hear me, Jane? Okay.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay. I'm so sorry about that. Okay. I was talking about your book.
Yeah. How far did I get? 'Cause
Want.
I was spilling the beans. Right. Did you hear me about? I'm an alcoholic. 21 years of sobriety.
Right. No,
at the bottom. Yeah.
I didn't hear any of that. So if you could share that with the audience.
Okay.
It hit home, and there was one line in that book: "Never trust an addict," and that always stood with me.
Yeah, it's true.
Can you
Never
explain
trust an addict because, they're not in control. When we're in our addiction and our disease, and I wasn't a drug addict, but I am an alcoholic, but in recovery. But when I was in my disease, using and drinking, you know, the disease controls the mind. It's a disease. And what happens is you wonder why smart people can't stop drinking, because the disease hijacks and takes everything hostage, including the mind. So the mind is working for the disease. It's thinking, how can I drink again? How much can I have? How much have people seen me drink? When can I drink again? the mind is working on behalf of the alcohol, not on behalf of you. So that's why some of the most clever and devious addicts and alcoholics are very smart people. In fact, generally, addicts and alcoholics are above average intelligence. When they get sober, you see them do incredibly creative things. I was saying that I really didn't care about anything till I got sober. I was a typical superficial person who just wanted to make more money and, have a bigger profile and have a nicer house and a nicer car. And then I hit bottom on my drinking, and I woke up and I had a spiritual experience, a psychic shift, and I realized that I didn't have to drink. I used to tell myself every day, I won't drink. I won't. And I tried to white-knuckle it and use my willpower. But willpower is useless against a disease. What you need to do is surrender to being powerless, and then you realize that in surrendering to the fact that you're completely powerless over this substance, instead of having a negotiation every day where you always lose, you stay away from the substance. That's the difference.
So you have to admit that you're powerless over this disease, right?
That's the first step. Until you, as long as you're, you know what I say, it doesn't matter whether it's alcohol, drugs, food, which, a huge percentage of Americans have food addiction, which nobody talks about.
Yes.
Because it's politically incorrect. But 2/3 of Americans are overweight or obese.
Right on
That's food addiction. It's food addiction.
Yes.
Plain and simple. And
I hear actually from people that could be worse, or not worse, but just as bad in terms of how tough it is.
Right, you're not going to drive down the freeway the wrong way and kill 5 people because you've eaten a double cheeseburger and a shake, but you are going to get probably become obese, and then you're going to need a stent operation, and that's going to cost taxpayers a lot of money. Gets back down to what I said at the start of the show, is that a lot of our nation's problems boil down to eating animals. If we didn't eat animals, we wouldn't have the obesity crisis. You don't see a lot of obese vegans running around because the most fast food, which 1 out of every 4 Americans eats fast food every day, is packed with sugar, salt, and fat, primarily animal fat and dairy. And that's what's making us obese, period. Whether it's ice
you
cream,
mentioned
shakes,
McDonald's,
cheeseburgers.
And I think I'm on a 3-year run now where I haven't been in McDonald's unless it was maybe just to take out a salad or something. But who knows even with that salad. Maybe there's something wrong with that salad. But in any event, what's your thoughts on McDonald's? Besides all the negative animal food stuff that's in there, have you discovered anything else in McDonald's that's possibly wrong? I've been
honestly,
sick terrible
I
times
can't tell you the last time I've
McDonald's.
stepped foot in a McDonald's. I think I stepped into a Wendy's once when I was on the road and I really had to go to the bathroom, and that's it. And then I ran out of there. I will not go into fast food restaurants. No, because you can't, again, don't negotiate when you're always going to lose. The human body is designed to crave sugar, salt, and fat. Now, the people who run all these companies, I'm not going to single anyone out, but they all know that they have food scientists. They know that the more you pack sugar, salt, and fat into a food, the more addictive it is. And you want more. And you know what the definition of addiction is? You can't get enough of it. You always want more. So it's a losing proposition. So you can't stop. And so the only way, it's just like alcohol. The only solution is to stay away. Food is much harder to navigate than alcohol because you have to negotiate with food every day in the sense that you have to eat to survive. So what they say in food addiction is stay in the light gray. Don't go into the dark gray. Yeah, an easy way to do that, and I talk about it in my book, Addict Nation, is create boundaries. For example, I do not eat in fast food restaurants. There is no I'm talking about the big names. Now, if there's a juice generation, that's different. I think those are the new generation of franchises, or a veggie grill. I'll go into those, but I will not eat at your all the names we know, the big ones. I just won't go in them. And so that's one way to limit the bad food playing field. Well, I've been vegan 19 years. I've been vegan 19 years, so I haven't been in any of those. And you know what? I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine going into one of those. They're not appetizing to me. I see them, and honestly, when I see people taking their kids, and I say, don't do it. You know that the World Health Organization did a compilation of 200 studies, and they officially said, and it was on the cover of the New York Times, processed meat is carcinogenic. Not likely, not possibly, not sometimes. Processed meat. Okay, we're talking about the little chicken nuggets and the salami slices and the deli slices and the hamburgers and the frankfurters. Processed meat is a carcinogen. Do you give your kids cigarettes? So why are we all walking around with our blinders on pretending that processed meat isn't a carcinogen? I'll tell you why. The meat and dairy industry. They run the commercials, so they have tremendous power. They run the USDA, and the FDA doesn't want to give them a hard time because, my gosh, we wouldn't need all those drugs if it weren't for people's bad diet habits and the fact that they need all these pills because they're so sick. So people are making a lot of money off of the obesity crisis, off of the heart disease, which is America's, leading killer, preventable killer, the widowmaker.
Doctors
They're
making
making a
plenty
ton
of
of
money off patients, right?
They don't want to stop it.
No,
you know who
not
created
at all.
the obesity crisis?
Right.
You know
but I
who
would
created
say
the obesity
there's
crisis?
a lot of shady doctors out there who like their clients to come back every month to get that script.
Of course.
You know,
hey, there's no better customer than an addict.
Right.
There is no better customer than an addict.
And it could start off with simple as a toothache, which a person.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's. You would tell somebody listening now not to ever touch a Vicodin, a Percocet, a thing like that if your tooth hurts, maybe an ibuprofen?
Look, I'm not a doctor in the sense I'm not going to give advice. In fact, I'm very much against the commercials that say, ask your doctor for that little pill with the it's turned everything upside down. Doctors are supposed to tell you what's wrong with you. You're not supposed to go in there and say, give me this pill, give me that pill. So that's how morally corrupt the system is. But I will say this, that, prescription drugs are killing more people. More people are ODing on legal prescription drugs than they are on illegal drugs. So people are beating their chests about heroin, which is a horrible problem. I don't want to, underestimate that. But the people who are keeling over and ODing are doing it on prescription drugs. More people are ODing. So the war on drugs, we love to demonize the drug suppliers and say, these thugs and, build a wall. Well, guess what? More people are ODing on legal prescription drugs. So who's the real pusher?
That's right. And as pointed out, the patient has to go every month. Soon they're hooked. And it becomes a business, and the doctor's sitting on a vacation while the client is looking for their next fix.
Look, I've done therapy. There are times in our lives where we all experience crisis. Like I said, my mother died 6 months ago. That was a very difficult thing for me.
Sure.
I've had a lot of things. I came out as gay. Yeah, I went to a therapist to handle that too. It was only after I got sober that I came out. I didn't even know. I was such a unconscious person. I didn't even realize I was gay until I got sober. I mean, I kind of knew, but I lied to myself and I ignored all the symptoms. But the point is that now therapists don't do the talking cure. Like I talked for years. Okay, here's my here's what I'm feeling, blah blah blah. Now they just want to give you a pill. If you're sad, if you're depressed, find out why you're depressed. Don't just
get to the root.
Submerge the depression in pills because it's just like alcohol. We think it's the solution, but it's really the problem. And then we drink to drown our problems, and the next day we wake up not only with the same problems, but they're worse, and we have a hangover. So it's the same thing with drugs. If you're going to a doctor, doctors will tell you now if you're depressed, if you go to a shrink, a lot of times they'll try to put you on